This is Charles Haley. You're listening to Nothing But Niners.
So now they've got to start from deep in their end of the field, and Garrison Hurst takes advantage of it. He takes the handoff, sweeps to his right, gets to the 20. He's to the 30. Needs to cut in. He comes back up the right sideline. Breaks the third tackle. Comes down to the 30. He's down to the 20. He's down to the 10. He's down to the 5. He's down to the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! 49ers! 96-yard run from scrimmage. Garrison Hurst.
Young, back to throw. In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again, to the 35, gets back at the 30, to the 20, the 50, the 10. He died. Touchdown, 49ers.
7 27-yard line. 49ers into the backfield. Smith on third down. He'll take it himself for first down. And one. Alex Smith is in. Touchdown.
His left hip. Third down. Alex takes the snap. Alex looking down in the post. And it's good. Touchdown. Touchdown 49. It is second down. Ryan takes the snap. Goes to plant to the left side. It's Russell. Intercepted. The 49ers pick it. And Navarro Bowman is rejected. Navarro Bowman running it all the way for a touchdown. No greater rejection.
Kaepernick shoots it. Hold everybody. Colin Kaepernick. What a game. Touchdown.
Yeah. Click, click, boom. What's going on, faithfuls? The Nothing But Niners crew is back, and we're here to bring you guys a fun-filled show called The Placement Program. Now, let me tell you about the placement program when I was in school, okay? When I was in school, you had to take these aptitude tests, and that was part of the placement program. Depending on how well you did in these tests, you went to the end of the school with the Larks. That's what they were called. That was like the official term. I don't know if I'm being offensive. If I am, I'm not trying to be, because that's what it was with the Larks. Or you were in the gifted and talented program, or you were in the standard education program, or whatever. So that's what the placement program was. And I promise you, we are not questioning anybody's intelligence today on today's program. Brian, what's going on with you, man? How you doing, bro?
Well, it's been a busy day. We got a fire that broke out south of us and another one that's further south that's huge, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But other than that, we're all right.
All right.
It's common for this time of year.
The fire, now it's not, how close is that to you?
The one that just popped up today is about, I'll say 5 miles as a crow flies.
5 miles. Is that bad? Like, I mean,
that's pretty close when you consider I live in the middle of a forest, you know.
Right. Well, that's kind of what I'm wondering, is because, like, I know you're out there.
So not the one that's by my house, but the other one, right? It's huge. And it's just tearing things up right now. And just to give you an idea, I looked up some stats so I could talk about this better.
Okay.
More intelligently. So I went and looked up how many acres are in a square mile, right? Okay. And the city of San Francisco is like 49 square miles. You can put 3 San Franciscos in the city of Philadelphia. And the fire is almost 3 times the city of Philadelphia.
Holy shit. Oh my God. I'm not laughing.
Just to give you an idea.
That's not good at all.
Right.
Oh my God. That's nuts, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right. So, well, prayers up to everybody and anyone in those areas. And it sounds like a fire that size can probably spread pretty rapidly too.
Right. We've been having air tankers go by with retardant all day, and helicopters doing water drops and all kinds of stuff. So it's crazy out there. You know, thoughts out to all the first responders that are out there having to deal with that, and the families that are affected, and getting their animals out of the way and those kind of things.
Absolutely. 100%. Now, I know that Wayne has been trying to jump in. My phone was going crazy, and I didn't know why. I look up, and it's like, I need the code. What's the code? Mike, I need the code. And he's probably like pissed off now. I don't know what happened. So I'll see if Wayne is going to jump in here. But I have something that happened on Twitter today, and we can discuss it now since it's a regular show. All right.
Let's do it for tonight.
Huh?
save this stuff on Twitter for this evening.
You sure?
Sure.
This is a fun one, man. I get to speak a little more freely and
It's up to you. I mean,
inappropriate comments.
That's you go digging for all that stuff. So you want to bring it? Let's do it.
Yeah, because we try to discuss the latest news concerning the team, and there isn't much that's going on right now. So we're stuck with kind of just keeping our eyes on our socials and seeing what's happening, seeing what's going on out there. Have you seen or heard anything today as far as the 49ers are concerned?
Not recently, and I haven't heard anything about you either.
Yeah, no. I kept my nose clean today. I did not post any lists today, so no one is getting on me. No one is saying how crazy I am or anything like that. But I did see a picture, and I feel like we kind of have to discuss it, man. And I think you know what picture I'm talking about. So I'm going to post it in here, and I was really trying to see if Wayne was still going to jump in. I don't know if
he's on there. He's just not in here yet.
Oh, there he is down there.
Yep.
You ready, bro? I don't know if he's ready though.
He's glitchy.
Wayne, you ready? There he is. You good, bro?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
All right. Hey, my bad, bro.
When you said you were going to drop in later, I figured that meant like halfway through the show later.
Yeah.
That don't mean Mike shouldn't check his damn cell phone.
Bro, he's absolutely right. It happens every single time too, man. So I apologize, man. It's not my fault. I mean, it's not Wayne's fault that he's late, guys. It's my fault. My bad. So listen, man, there's not a lot that's going on Twitter. We have to discuss this. We got to at least. All right. I'm just going to post it. Let's react. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
What about it?
Oh,
We saw
my
this
goodness.
yesterday.
I didn't see it yesterday.
Oh.
Not me. I saw it today.
I thought we talked about it yesterday on the midnight show.
No, we didn't. What did we say?
Because people were making fun, saying it was like a sports bra and stuff. And I was like,
on the show last night? I don't remember seeing it. I don't remember commenting on it.
Maybe maybe it was a brief conversation afterwards. I don't know.
They told me, I'm going to probably lose sponsorship on it right here. But they was like, yo, Mike, you can't see your quarterback out there looking like a bad bitch. That was hilarious to me. Now, listen, guys, this is all just tracking equipment, right? I don't know why this was such a big deal, but let me tell you, the bigots really came out of the woodworks on that thread. Did you sure enough read some of the comments on there?
Bro, like I'm still going, my bad. I'm still arguing with people. Not arguing, but like I feel like people are missing my point on the whole situation, which is usually, normal. But like people are like, oh, you're ignorant. It's a heart device tracking thing. I don't give a what it is. I'm telling you what it looked like. And at the end of the day, people that don't know what that is going to say that it looks like a sports bra. If a female was wearing that, you would say it's a sports bra before you would say it's a tracking device, before you learn that it's a tracking device. So when a male wears it, it's still a sports bra until you find out that it's a tracking device. Like at the end of the day, like it's still a sports bra. It looks like one, right? Like I was cool with him wearing it with the shirt and then his boy and the top wearing it with the shirt. That's cool. Then when you take the shirt off, it looked like a sports bra.
So
like,
is he not supposed to work out topless?
Working out topless and wearing a sports bra is two different things.
No.
That doesn't give any support. So it's not a sports bra. It's like saying, saying that a
you don't know if it doesn't give support.
Like you can see it. It's loose.
Yes,
it's not supporting anything.
Look, I didn't know that
like
Wayne was one of them.
Is a
this
thong,
is great. This is great. I didn't know Wayne was one of them. This is awesome. We got one right here. This is great. This is why you do it now, Brian. This is exactly it. So Wayne, listen, if he was out there and didn't have to wear the monitoring system, he would be topless. He would be out there without a shirt on. But he has to wear this because the team is monitoring heart rate.
You're missing my point. Why is everybody missing my fucking point?
I'm not missing your point.
Then why are you correcting what I'm saying?
I didn't correct you. I was just saying something.
But you don't have to explain to me what it is. Like, I get what it is.
I didn't explain what it is either.
You just did. You just told me he was wearing a monitor around his chest.
That's not what I said to you.
That's what you said.
I said if he was out there without a shirt on, it's the same thing essentially. I didn't tell you about the monitoring system. I didn't mention that yet.
You just did.
Saying, no, we see all the time quarterbacks and NFL players work out without shirts on. And I'm saying that this is equivalent to that because he didn't have a shirt on, just the monitoring system.
I guess
that's what I'm saying. It's just the shape of it. That's all I'm saying.
I guess.
Well, it used to be just a band that people wore. And I'm assuming because they were out there getting sweaty, they needed something to go over the shoulders in order to keep the band from falling down.
Mm-hmm.
It used to look like this little Power Ranger Morpheus thing.
Then you end up with the bro.
They make the shirt longer. Make the joint go all the way down. They make compression shirts just like that. So why make it look like a sports bra? That's the controversy. My point is this. A lot of people look at it and think it looks like a sports bra because it's a half shirt. It's like it's a halter top type
crop
of thing.
top.
Crop top, right? And so you can't be mad at people for feeling that way. I don't feel that way. I don't care what he's wearing. I'm just specifically speaking for the people that are scared to speak up because this is what they see. Now all the smart motherfuckers want to come out and say, "Hey, it's a sports monitor." Okay, that's fine. But it still doesn't look like an initial sports monitor until you learn it.
I would venture to guess you're going to see a lot more of it too now.
And that's fine because now that we blew it up, and now all of a sudden I saw a Gronk in one from last season, and then there's athletes in another one that I ain't never seen those pictures in my life, Brian and Mike.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden now it's the thing. It's the cool thing. Now it's the trend. I get it.
It's like when you run across the picture of or a video of Jimmy doing the Dak Prescott hip twist.
Yes. I just feel like people are misinterpreting where I'm coming from. All I'm saying is the initial look from the picture before we learn about the actual thing, right? It looks like a crop top.
So let me ask you a question.
I'm listening.
So, but for both of you, so what did you do when you initially saw the picture? What was your first thought?
So this is why I made the show today. So when I first saw it, what the hell is he wearing? And so I zoomed in on it, and then I could see the words on it. It says something like stats or something. I can't remember exactly what it says now, but I definitely zoomed in. I'm like, wait, because he looked like, first, I'll be honest with you, it was on there. It says the Rook. And I was like, is this a volleyball team thing that's happening? And then I was like, oh shit, that's Trey. And then I was like, what is he? And then I zoomed in and I read it. And then if you go back and you look at like the other pictures with him and Ayuk and all, it's the same thing. He just had it on over the shirt before. So this is whatever monitoring device that he is choosing to wear. Right. But I realized it quickly, like all within 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw it all within 30 seconds and realized everything right away. But when you first see it, I'm like, wait, what am I looking at? It really, like this bottom right picture, it looks like a server on a women's volleyball team. Like, I'm not trying to be funny at all. That's what it looked like.
The only reason I asked what you guys did or said is because as soon as I saw it and I zoomed in to see, because I did the same thing. I was like, what does it say on that thing? And it said stats, whatever it says. And I went and looked that up because I was like, I want to know what that is.
Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't make I feel like the people you might be talking to, Wayne, are people who jumped to conclusions or made judgments based on just what it looked like rather than doing the research to figure out what the heck it was.
Yeah, but not okay. Not everybody, Brian, is going to do research. There's people out there that do research. I understand. And so you got to go. We're going off of what it looks like. Like I feel like the people that look at it initially says it looks like if they're double checking to have to go and see. Oh, let me say what it say on the shirt. It could have said titties for sale for all I care. All I'm saying is it looks like a crop top to many people, except for those that know what it is. So if you know what it is, kudos. And then thank you for sharing the love. A crop top is that.
I don't know the difference.
Usually a crop top would be what you would see Zeke in. Zeke wears like a crop top.
He wore that to the.
See, that's what I'm saying. I thought that was a cutoff right above the belly.
Belly shirt or whatever. Yeah.
This just looks like it's so like I get why people are saying that, but I feel the thing that bothered me, and I don't know, Miss Debbie, this has nothing to do with you. This is a Twitter thing. This has nothing to do with what you think. You're not one of the MFers. I'm talking about the people that called a person homophobic for saying that it looks like a sports bra. Like I don't think you should call a person homophobic because it looks like a sports bra. Like you didn't say that. Somebody said that though.
Oh
So
no, there were people saying a lot of stuff. So like people were getting offended that people didn't get it. But then there were really nasty people out there about, this is why I want Jimmy to start. I don't want this guy out there representing the 49ers.
Right. It got really bad.
Like that's what I was coming in here to laugh and make fun of. The bigots out there. That's what I came in here to laugh. Not people confused about what he was wearing. Because once they figured it out, like you said, Brain, it wasn't a big deal. But it was I saw so much hate from this picture. Like this fan base is crazy.
Right. There was a lot of people who were like, San Francisco is the perfect city for that kid.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. That's what I'm talking. Like this fan base is nuts. It is really crazy.
I told you, Callie. I told you the fan base is weird. like I had to literally pull myself away from Twitter for hours. I had to go vent to some of my Twitter family in private just so that I could just see if I'm doing something wrong. Like y'all my confidants out there. And then so I pulled myself away because I felt myself slipping, falling, and not being able to get, like, I thought I was gonna really like go old school breezy, like on cats, like real talk, like get a plane ticket, show up, like handle it like some gentlemen's, like real talk.
Hey, so I wanted to do this because of the laugh, and I don't get that upset about stuff, right? And
it's what made me upset, Mike, was that you were calling people homophobic. Like, don't just say that.
there were homophobic people in the comments. There were absolutely homophobic people in the comments.
All right, yeah.
That's what we just got to talking about. People saying this is exactly why I want Jimmy in there. He bangs porn stars. Like, what are they talking about? You get what I'm saying? Like, that's what I came in here to make fun of. Was those people that were acting that way. That's what I came in here to poke a little fun with. You know what I'm saying? Not the sincerely people confused or questioning the shape of it and does it have to look like that. That's a fashion sense. That's right. I don't have that. Y'all just said halter top, and I'm like, damn. I mean, crop top, whatever top y'all said it was. I don't have a fashion sense, so that's different. I don't know any of that stuff. But the people who were really out there, like, upset at what he was wearing and started going after his sexuality and stuff like that, it was crazy. A porn star got mentioned because of that picture. Do you understand what I'm saying now when I say the homophobic tweets?
I got you.
That's what I was talking about. That's what I came here to have fun with. So that's all it was. And people tried to clear it up right away and let everybody know what it was. And the picture got taken way too serious on both sides. You know what I'm saying? Like, so then the people who knew what it was started insulting the people who didn't know what it was. And then it was a lot of stuff, but I enjoyed the little Twitter back and forth on it. And yeah, you can see on the picture, I am a day late. It says it was posted on the 12th. But again, I just saw it for whatever reason. I guess because maybe we were on by the time it really made its way to my my timeline.
It says 11:08.
We were probably on live, and then I didn't go to sleep until what time was it, babe? 3, 4? So I wasn't looking at Twitter like that. So I apologize. Didn't want to get you guys blood pressures or anything like that up. We're gonna woosah. We're gonna rub the pressure points. Okay, and we're gonna go keep on trucking through this show today, man, because we've actually got some stuff to discuss. Now, let me go through here. I'm gonna start posting some comments, and I want to ask you guys. So now that everybody's in here, Breezy, how you doing, my man? What's going on with you?
I'm doing good, man. I just got back from a live show. This is the summer concert series, man, and we luckily didn't get rained out, but it did start raining after we were done. So I'm gonna be doing that probably for the rest of the summer. But it felt good to be playing for the people again and watching. You know what made my night? Watching little kids trance and dancing into the music, man. Like, it just made me feel like the generation is gonna continue to get better because music, it just does everything for the bodies, healing for the soul, So it was good. It was a good night. Especially with all that other stuff going on. I just had to leave Twitter alone for a while, yo. I had to.
Yeah, there comes a time where you just got to take a break from Twitter. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But It's good for people who know how to walk away. I will tell you that. If you don't know how to walk away, if you keep itching, like, let me tell you, I saw somebody expose themselves on Twitter yesterday, maybe the day before, and I didn't say anything, but they were talking about how useless the mute and the block features are on Twitter. They said that I can still see some of the stuff of what, damn, Wayne got at me in the comments over here.
I thought that's what you saw. I thought
Well, at least you'll get that message, right, Wayne?
obviously he got it late though,
in,
Brian.
y'all.
I thought that's what he saw because he hit me right away. The moment I posted that, I got the text.
I'm just now seeing this.
That's funny.
That is crazy. He really was trying to get on the damn show.
And that's what took me so long to come in, because I'm like, why am I hearing my brothers? Like, what am I hearing in the background? And I was watching y'all on the other.
I am so sorry, bro. I am so sorry. But yeah, so I saw this individual talking about how the block and the mute feature are the most pointless features on Twitter. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, because I've done it. I did it once and I learned my lesson. After you block and or mute somebody, if you click on their page or profile, it tells you you have this person blocked or you have this person muted. Are you sure you want to see these tweets? Once you click yes, you have to unblock and block them again. So that person was telling on themselves that not only did they block somebody, they went back to check their timeline to see what they were saying. So you can't be angry at somebody. You're only hurting yourself. You only are psyching out yourself when you do stuff like that. And so I saw that tweet and I was like, oh man, that was funny as hell. Like I'm looking, because I did it too. I did it too. That's how I know what happens when you block somebody and when you get back on there. So this all came from you saying, you got to know when to step away. Sometimes you got to put the phone down, and some people just don't know how to do that. And I'm happy to say that I am now in a position where I don't worry about that stuff at all. Like, I don't let Twitter or Twitter people bother me. I don't know. My wife is sitting right here. She can hear me. I don't think I ever tell her this person on Twitter said whatever. I probably used to be like that maybe 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. But now it's all on an app. It's all one big circle of entertainment, and that's where it stays for me. So I haven't, since I think the last time I took Twitter serious, I was trying to get at somebody like in real life, in person, and then Scott had to reel me in and was like, Mike, like, this doesn't look good for the brand. You got to stop. And you guys know Scott. Oh yeah, somebody called me a Uncle Tom because my wife was white, and this is somebody that I helped build a page and promote and all that stuff. Like, I was doing it for this kid. And he said something about Colin Kaepernick, and I disagreed with it, and that was the end of it. That was it. After that, it was Mike was the enemy, and he's a sellout, and he's an Uncle Tom. And I was like, yo, bro, I'll smack the shit out of you in real life. Like, I will be in California. Watch your mouth. Like that. I'm not. Don't talk about my family. I'm not one of those people. I like to have fun. I like to joke. You know what I'm saying? And it took a while for me to get over that. You can say I was in my feelings. I don't care. I was there. That's fine with me. But I was really upset about the comments because it had nothing to do with what we were talking about. You want to talk about my wife, my mixed kids? Like, what? Really? It's okay. I'll be out there. These are the games I'm going to. Run into me in the parking lot. You know, like it was. I don't do a lot of talking and everything. But since then, I put the phone down. I don't care about it that much. Like, there's nothing anybody out there can say anymore to get me upset. Even if someone were to say something about my wife and kids, I would feel like they saw me say it here. They know that's what my trigger is, and they're just trying. And once I know you're trying, it doesn't hold its weight anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yesterday, Mike. Why so serious?
Yes. All right. So we're gonna use the rest of our time here, guys, to get to the meat and potatoes of today's show. I know everyone is sitting here like, what the heck do they mean by the placement program? So Brian, I'm going to give you the floor here to try to explain what the purpose of today's show is going to be.
All right. Well, I'm going to preface this with something that Mike said yesterday, or if you got a chance to watch the midnight show, I think it was yesterday. But he said we have very well earned the moniker, the 40 Whiners. And I'm going to say that for my 2 cents, I'm going to play devil's advocate here and say that is untrue. We have faithful and we have the hateful. Okay. If people aren't faithful, they're hateful. But today we're going to talk about this guy because this show is for those guys and gals out there that want to hate on the man sitting behind me. Okay? So I went and did a lot of research, and I went and talked about and looked at every team. And we're going to discuss where you can send Jimmy and when you can send him there so that you guys know. Because I know that most of you won't go out and do the research. So I have done it. It's not 100%. Obviously, anything can happen in the NFL. But I'll give you the numbers that I can find. A lot of it is cap driven. And some of it is just, not a right fit because, you got, Russell Wilson as your quarterback. He's not going to Seattle, but, just to give you a tidbit. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. I don't know how exactly you want me to start or go over this, or if you guys want to chat before we get started with it.
I got you, bro. I just wanted to continue to click on all the comments here. We're going to try to make sure that everyone's comments get put up on the show at some point. We might not be able to get to them all really quick here. Tony is sleeping and Nick is working. Both of those guys have hectic schedules, guys, and they are still very much a part of Nothing But Niners, including Breezy. If I'm not mistaken, it's like the third time we've seen Breezy in a month and a half. Like, my man is getting after it out there. It's been a while. I think it's 3 times in a month and a half, bro.
Always got gigs.
Yeah, my man. And we thought you were going to be on later, but our guys here, they can tell you, Breezy can tell you, it's an open door. We never say he can't come on this show. We have never ever said anything like that. The link get posted in the chat, or Breezy has a login, so he just jumps in and says I need the code, and that's where I mess up. That's the code thing. So but this is an open floor. We haven't told anyone they can't come in here or anything like that. That's not what we're doing. So I don't want you guys to think that at all.
This is the crucial catch, guys, from maybe a couple of years back. I guess I got it. I think I got off the NFLshop.com for the 49ers.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I'm going to say it anyway. There's a lot of bootleg websites with really nice hats on them. Like, I'm if I cannot wait until I can fit a hat. It might not ever happen.
No, you just gotta get it.
You're going to have to cut off your dreads for that, man.
Why don't you just get a size 9 or
Bro,
10?
You know a website that sells them that big?
Oh, I thought they do something. They sell them at 9s.
This was where this.
What do you need?
This is the biggest hat I own. No, this is an 8. Hold on.
You need a 9.
Damn, this is an 8. Maybe the 8 is the biggest, and I cannot.
You need a 9. I think they make 9s. You just got to go on the site.
Hurt yourself.
Yeah, and this one's got the metal thing on it. I shouldn't be trying to do that with that.
Or what you should be wearing is the snapbacks.
Oh, could I get my hair between the?
Put your hair in, but yeah, bro, I gotta teach you how to style too. Damn.
I don't know. I don't know what Top Gear we're talking about. You think I know about hats, man? I just go.
Yeah, man, you got to get the snapbacks, man.
People are like, "Where do you get your hair wraps from?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And so I have a million different of these things to hold my hair back, bro. I look up neck gaiters, and that's what I'm doing this with. I don't have hair wraps and all that. I don't know sugar honey iced tea, bro. So anyway, I'm sorry. You got to hook me up, man. To get, you be my stylist or something. You can help me out.
I got you,
bro. The purpose of today's show is this, right? So a lot of people feel like Jimmy Garoppolo is gonna be the starter, and if you don't agree, you are a hater. You are a Jimmy G hater, and I hope Jimmy G goes somewhere and wins a freaking Super Bowl. So there's a lot of passion behind this Jimmy Garoppolo guy, and God forbid you say that you want Trey to come in when he's ready. Oh, well, you just want the team to hurry up and lose. Or there's the opposite side where Trey needs to start day one, and you're crazy if you don't think so. Well, where does that leave us with Jimmy? And so today what we're going to do is we're going to try to find out where exactly we can place Jimmy Garoppolo in the NFL. It's easy to say we should get a trade pick for him. We need to get a second or a first. But how does that happen? What team needs him? What team can afford him if we're going to trade him? Because trading means you're taking on that contract. And so that's what today's exercise is going to be all about. Brian is sitting over there. He's got all the chips in his pile. Wayne, our job is simple today. We're going to listen and react. It's that simple. So, all right, we're going to have a lot of fun with this. We're going to ask some questions. We'll just go with it.
And I'll give you all the answers I can give you.
Yeah, and we'll do a little bit of a dialogue, and we'll pull up different team rosters and stuff like that when we need to, and that's what the show is going to be. We're going to have some fun for the next 30 to 40 minutes. Okay. All right. So where can we place Jimmy Garoppolo?
All right. So I got to put my old man glasses on because I got to read stuff here.
Oh,
when you do this, I know some of the research that you did, and I made it a point for you to not tell me everything.
Right.
Let's start. Let's start with this. Okay. Now this exercise is going to be based off of a trade. Is that correct?
It could be. Yeah.
All right. So then,
yeah, go ahead.
Do we have to agree on the compensation for Jimmy Garoppolo?
So that I did not. I looked for places that he could go. People who have the cap space for him, teams that have a need for a starter or a tier 1 backup quarterback, however you want to look at it. I looked specifically at those two things, and I looked specifically at, say, Trey wins in training camp. Who can we trade him to before the season starts? Who can we trade him to by the deadline? And who are candidates for a 2022 trade?
Okay. All right. I understand. Okay. So let's just say here that if we're looking for a trade, let's talk right now. What is fair compensation for Jimmy Garoppolo, guys? Let's see if we can come up with an agreement amongst the three of us.
I would say a second round pick. Same thing what we got him for.
I have it listed as a 2 and a 4.
A 2 and a 4.
And a 4.
Yep.
And I was thinking a third. I know that we got him for a second, but since then he's been on the sideline more than on the field.
Yeah, he's also got.
Let me preface that with he has a successful season this year if he plays, right? If we're trying to trade him before the season starts,
yeah. I mean, right now.
We'll get into that, but you got if somebody's trading for Jimmy before the season actually starts, they have a definite need for a quarterback. There's not that many teams when you look at the NFL right now who need a quarterback or that Jimmy would necessarily be an upgrade over who they currently have on the roster.
Yeah. So when I said my third, I should have explained. I mean right now, as if between now and week 1, assuming that there's no injuries. Right now, I would say a third. That was where I was. Now I hear you with the second and the fourth. Wayne, you said a second. What we got for him is that still your thinking under the guise of him being traded right now?
Yeah, I feel like he can be traded for a second right now. Meaning that people know healthy. And he can get your team to a Super Bowl. I mean, I think he's proven that, right? And so there's things that he does very well. And if there's a team that's looking for a quarterback that can take them to that place, I think Jimmy, you can get a second. I think you can get a second for him right now.
Okay, so let me give you guys some quick numbers real quick. So we need to preface this whole thing with the fact that Jimmy this season, 2021, has a no trade clause. So that can screw up any deal that gets put in place, depending on what Jimmy wants to do, right?
Yeah, he gets to pick the team he wants. Yep.
Basically, right. So his cap hit for this year is going to be 24.98, basically $25 million for the receiving team. That doesn't mean we're still going to be on the hook for 2.8 or whatever it is left over. There's only 2 teams right now that can afford to do that as a straight across the board. We're not swapping players. They're taking on Jimmy's contract. And those 2 teams are Jacksonville and Denver. We know he's not going to Jacksonville. So Denver's really the only one that can trade straight up right now. Now, if you're looking at midseason, if you're going to do by the trade deadline, say Jimmy's doing well, but we want Trey's ready to take over. Then there are several teams that can afford to bring on his cap because we'll just cut it in half, right? So it's $12.5 million at the trade deadline, roughly. And so teams that could afford, this is no player swap. This is just straight trade across the board, taking on his remaining salary. Carolina, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Detroit, Indianapolis, the Jets, and Washington. And those are
that's all based off of just financial.
Just the financial part of it, yeah.
Okay. So what were those teams again? It was
Carolina,
Cincy,
Cleveland, Detroit, Indy, the Jets, Washington. Okay, so and depending on the situation with Rodgers, if he retires, they would open up enough money that they could bring in Jimmy midseason. unless they were willing to do some sort of I'm not taking into consideration doing any player negotiation or restructuring of contracts. That's just what's on the books right now. And when I say what's on the books right now, if you look at cap space, if you go to over the cap or any other places that have the cap on there, what they don't have is the guys that we haven't signed. Like for us, we think we have $27 million, $17 million, right? But we don't, because I meant 17, not 27, because we haven't signed 3 of our players yet. So those numbers that I gave you, or those teams, are after I went and did calculations of after they've signed, because there's a lot of teams who haven't signed their rookie class.
Right. So you're giving them the real,
the projected cap space.
Yeah. After signing all of their rookies and all.
Right.
So those are the real numbers. Now, here's the thing. Of all those teams you named, are they really fit? How are they doing at the midpoint of the season? Because that no trade clause, that's where it's going to come in here.
Yep.
Does Jimmy want to go to a team that at the midway point of the season, you remember we're at 17 games here, so I don't know if they're going to move the trade deadline now or not, up a week. I don't know how that's going to work, but you know that it's right around Halloween, all right? So how is that going to work? Now, these teams are out here and they're sitting here with just 3 or 4 wins. Is Jimmy going to want to go there at all?
Right. Well, I didn't take that part into consideration because I could not find a single article that actually said something from Jimmy about teams that he would like to go to, because that situation never came up.
That doesn't exist. He's never been asked about going.
So we don't know where he wants to go. We can speculate. I went through and found where he could go.
Okay.
And so if you want to talk about just the 4 teams that I mentioned, that would be before the season, right?
All right, so let's start there. So before the season starts,
right?
Those 4 teams are what? Who is it? What is happening?
You started.
I let Nick in, and he muted him because it was feedback.
Oh, okay. That's okay. All right. I guess I should have known that was Nick. All right.
So I'm going to go through these in alphabetical order by city, basically. So we'll start with Denver. We have Denver, right? And so I broke these each down into 3 categories: their cap situation, the need for players, and then trade if necessary. If they had to, if they didn't have in the Green Bay situation, when I get there, we'll talk about players that could be traded to help balance out the salary that they would take on by taking Jimmy's salary. Does that make sense? Okay.
I'm with you. I got you loud and clear.
We'll start with Denver. So I think, this is just me, but I think that Jimmy would be an immediate upgrade over Locke in that system. So I see there's a need for Jimmy in Denver.
Who is Denver's offensive coordinator right now?
I don't know off the top of my head.
All right, so let me pull that up, unless Wayne has that information over there. But I'm going to pull that up and see if he's a fit in the system.
Pat Shurmur.
Pat Shurmur. All right, so Pat Shurmur.
He used to coach the Giants.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. I mean, all right, so
kind of Eli Manning-ish.
Okay.
So they're going to be a run-first type of team,
which is what. Yeah.
I think Jimmy needs that, right?
Well, so seems to have benefited from it here.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a fit. Okay. All right.
On the books right now, Denver has, or after they sign, because they still have to sign a second-round pick and 2 third-round picks, but they will have $25.4 million. So that's enough to take on Jimmy's contract. So they have the need and they have the space available. However, if they wanted to make it easier on themselves financially, there are 3 players that could open up space from their roster.
Is Von Miller one of them?
First being Von Miller, which would open up $18 million.
18?
So, yep.
God.
So basically, we would swap out and we would only open up, like if we were to swap players, obviously, then we're only opening up $6 million. But we're getting Von Miller. So, I mean, take it. Or cornerback Callahan, he'll open up 7.1. And then wide receiver Sutton, 2.1. So it's not a lot, but it would be a little bit of flexibility to get somebody off their books that has future salary for Denver.
Sutton's contract is that close to Jimmy's? It's only a $2 million difference?
No, his contract's only 2 point. Like he's only getting.
I thought you said he would open up 2.
No. Okay. It only opens up $2.1 million for them, but they already have 25. So they would be able to take on Jimmy's, and then if Sutton was part of that trade, then they would still have like $5 million on the books or something like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So can we discuss that as a group here, guys? Can we talk about Denver potentially being a fit for Jimmy Garoppolo? Do we think that's a reality?
Well, do you want me to run through all 4 of these teams first?
Oh, you want to go through them all? Okay, go ahead.
Well, I think it'd be easier to have that conversation once this part's done.
Okay.
So the next team is Green Bay, but it's dependent on Aaron Rodgers deciding he's going to retire or sit out this season. Okay. So if in fact he sits out, I think that given their offense or given their head coach, it would be a fit because it definitely, I think, would be an upgrade over Jordan Love. If he retires or doesn't play this year, they would open up $20 million. So that's not enough to sign Jimmy straight up, right? And they only have 4.1 on the books right now. So if Rodgers in there, that's $24 million. You're cutting it too close. There's too many things that have to happen, right? So they're gonna have to trade somebody. And so they have. I did 3 players for them also. Number 1, wide receiver Adams opens up $13.1 million. Cornerback Alexander 2.1. Tight end Lewis 2.3. Okay. Any questions on that one?
All right. No, they don't have a lot of options there. They're a little strapped, but again, this is all dependent on Aaron Rodgers because of the familiarity with that system. This would be, in my opinion, the perfect fit for him. Now, I don't know if you have an answer for this, but if Aaron Rodgers were to sit out as opposed to retire, what does that do for their finances?
Well, if he basically is holding out, so his tolls to the next year.
Yeah.
Ooh, so he could screw the team. So can a player stop a holdout whenever they want?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're the
So
ones
let's say
holding out.
week 1 comes and Trey Lance kills it in preseason. Jimmy goes out there and does good. Aaron Rodgers is not there. Oh, you want me to save this for later, right? Okay, never mind. I'll wait. Because I'm getting all these questions in my head. All right, but I just wanted to know how it would work if Jimmy was like, all right, I'll go to Green Bay.
Right.
You know, there's people with familiarity, and then Aaron's like, no, I'm coming back now.
I'm not saying that any of these are necessarily the best fit or one's better than the other or they're even doable, but these are the teams that can take on his contract now.
Okay.
So the next one will be the Jets. Now, obviously, he'd be going from a situation where he is now to a situation being basically the same, right? He's going to have to fight with Wilson for that job or be a mentor to him or whatever. But it gets him, as ED would say, away from a guy who's telling him he doesn't want him anymore. So that's a need there for Jimmy, not necessarily the Jets, but for Jimmy. The team will not have the cap space to sign Jimmy straight up after they sign the rookie class because their current numbers don't include signing either of their Wilson or
top draft picks.
Vera Tucker. So they had 2 first-round picks that they still have to sign. That's going to bring their cap space way down. So they would need to trade too. And this could work out in our advantage if that was the spot because Safety May is already having conflicts with that team with trying to get an extension that he's not going to get, talking about holding out, but he would open up 10.6. Defensive end Lawson would open up 14, and linebacker Mosley would open up $6 million. So that's the Jets situation. And then the last team is Washington. So part of that has to do with the future being unsure because they only have Fitzpatrick and Heineke, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Heineke. Yeah.
And so, but after this season, you know, Fitzgerald's Fitzpatrick is a free agent. So, I mean, they got to have to look for the future anyway. So I think that there's a need for him in Washington, but it may not be right now, but I think that they would benefit from getting him on board right now if he was willing to go there. Cap space, the team has 16.6 in cap space. If they did cut Fitzpatrick, it would put 4.5 on top of that. So Jimmy could negotiate a new contract if he was going to be the leader of that team. But if not, they wouldn't have to do any negotiations, but the Washington football team would have to give up one of their top salary cap hits, which is either going to be safety Collins at 12.7, cornerback Fuller at $10 million, or defensive tackle Allen at $10.05 million. So those are the teams: Denver, Green Bay, the Jets, and Washington. Those
now,
are that's now. That's like preseason, before the season starts.
Okay, so what is Detroit's current cap space?
Currently, once they still have a third rounder that's outstanding. They'll have $16.9 million.
And they can't afford Jimmy right now.
Not straight up. There would have to be a player swap involved, which is why I threw those names out there.
But why is Detroit an option when they just got a quarterback?
Did they, though?
To them, they did.
They got a golf. And they got an extra first-round pick to take on that salary.
Right.
So that
and
means
this was about teams that could take them, not necessarily they, and I did that based on salary and or not both need. So, because obviously if Rodgers plays, Green Bay's off the chart, right?
Yeah,
you don't need that one.
But the Lions don't need a quarterback.
But they have the space. That's what I'm saying. It's a twofer. Like, not only they may not need him, but they were a team that I could identify as having the money or the ability, if they wanted to, go and do that, and then make a competition between Goff and Garoppolo, and whoever wins, and whoever doesn't gets the back seat.
Okay.
Wait, we lost Mike.
Who cares? Keep going.
Okay. Well, this is where we can have the conversation for the right now, unless you want me to keep going and talk about through the trade deadline.
Nah, so that the 4 teams were Denver,
the
Jets,
Green Bay,
and the Lions.
And Washington.
Washington. Why did we mention the Lions then? I don't know. Because he was talking about somebody said something about the Lions.
I think Mike brought it up.
Got you. The only team I could see the thing that makes the situation hard is that Jimmy has to pick where he wants to go. Right?
Well, yes and no. If he wants to get paid, he's going to go wherever he can get the money. If he wants to be released from the team to become a free agent, then he can go wherever he wants.
Well, I'm just saying he gets to choose regardless. Like, at the end of the day, he makes the choice. This is what I'm trying to say.
Sort of. But I mean, because you got to think about the situation that he's going to be in. Say it's you, Wayne, and you have a $25 million contract and you have a no trade clause, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now the team has said, Trey's ready to take over. We're trading you, Jimmy. These are the 4 teams you can go to. And Wayne, do you want to go to any of these 4 teams? And you're like, no. Then we're going to release you.
They release
so
you.
Either get paid
nothing.
or released, and then he's going to get next to nothing other than the 2.8 we owe him. So it's in his benefit to just go ahead and take a trade wherever, because he's not going to get paid if he becomes a free agent. Not that kind of money.
Right, but at the end of it's still his choice, though.
You're absolutely right. It is his choice.
What Wayne is saying is that of all the options, Jimmy gets the final say, and that is true.
Yeah. So either you could take one of these 4 teams, Jimmy or Wayne, or you can take the next train out of San Francisco, like Santa Clara. Right. So that's what I meant. Like, at the end of the day, it comes down to him because he has that clause. And then, so in a way, that was kind of smart on the Niners. Like,
I'm just saying, like, if I'm in that situation and I'm like, I got $25 million that I could earn, or I become a free agent and I get like $6 million, I'm going to go to a team. I'm going to say, let's go wherever.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So if I had to pick, all right, so if I'm going to pick one of those teams and I'm Jimmy Garoppolo, send me to Green Bay.
Okay.
Now, the other thing is, there's probably a benefit to going to a bad team too, right?
No, not at all.
Well, if Jimmy goes to a bad team, all of a sudden he's the favorite player in town.
But I don't think Jimmy cares about that. Like, I think Jimmy wants to be on a team. We've seen Jimmy needs to be on a team that's built to win. Like, so I think Green Bay, they have the wide receivers, they have a run game, they have offensive line, right? They got a run game. They got Aaron Jones, and then they drafted that rookie from last year, AJ Dillon. They're going to be a problem. They got a defense, right? And so it will probably, and they kind of run the same. They kind of run the same type of offense. Matt LaFleur is there, right? And so that might be where Jimmy would excel. He's out of a Kyle Shanahan system, and I could see Jimmy going there. And then you get to be with Aaron, if Aaron Rodgers comes back or if he doesn't, whatever, you got a job. Like Jimmy should be able to be out. What's his name? Jordan Love? What's the guy?
Yeah,
Jordan Love.
that's it. Yeah. That's who it is.
Yeah, that's what Jimmy should feel super confident. I don't think Jimmy likes competition, man. I don't think Jimmy's gonna fare well with this Trey Lance situation. And so if I'm Jimmy, I think if I'm Jimmy, I would pick Green Bay if they were ready to make a trade.
Is Nick there? Is Nick actually there?
Well,
hello?
Nick,
Yep.
are you?
What's going on, man?
What's going on?
We're running through all this for Jimmy. What do you think so far?
Well, I mean, obviously, I kind of agree with Wayne, but the only thing that I disagree with there is Matt LaFleur kind of runs the same system as Kyle Shanahan, so he's kind of in the same type of system. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going anywhere. I think he's just full of shit, basically. But Jimmy's best bet right now is to take the $25 million if Jed York is willing to pay that for him as a backup and stay his ass in San Francisco right now. That's his best bet, because I don't think anybody else is going to pay him that type of money or trade for him with that contract. So he's either going to get cut, or Jed York has already said that he'll pay him no matter what. His best bet is he's going to stay in San Francisco as a backup and making $23 million a year, 23.8, whatever it is. If he gets beat out by Trey Lance, if he doesn't get beat out this year, he definitely won't be the starter next year, and that's where we'll end up seeing what he does. But Jimmy's best bet for him and his sake right now is to to suck up the 23 or 25 million, whatever it is, and stay, whether he wins the starting quarterback spot or he is the backup in San Francisco, because ain't nobody else going to pay him that type of money, and nobody else is going to trade for him and give up guys like Von Miller and pay the salary that Jimmy Garoppolo is making. So Jimmy Garoppolo's best choice right now for himself is try to win the starting job. If not, suck it up, be the backup, and make $25 million if you want to make that money.
Do we think that if he's relegated to backup, they're not going to try to restructure that deal? They're going to let that 25
No,
ride?
because they're going to pay him no matter what, so they can say goodbye to him at the end of the year.
Yep. I mean, Jed York already came out and said that John Lynch said that Jed York is willing to pay him what they owe him. There's not going to be a restructure. They're going to pay him no matter what. His final 2 years on his contract.
I think I like where Mike is going, though, because if Jimmy is going to agree to be a backup, now you could talk about restructuring. And so, like, if Jimmy says, you know what, all right, I'll accept this backup, and now you got a backup, competent quarterback. Now I would secure a long-term deal to have a backup quarterback, because what most good teams have are veteran quarterbacks that are backups, right? And Jimmy Garoppolo can be exactly that. And so now I think that is when a restructure might come into play. You know what I'm saying? Because now Trey Lance is about to win the starting role. All right, Jimmy, I tell you what, we'll pay you what we owe you now. Let's restructure this, and then boom, you could sign on to us for another 4 or 5 years. And so I would agree with Jimmy being on this team for 4 or 5 years longer if he agreed to be that backup role. That way, God forbid something happens to Trey Lance, you got a legitimate starting quarterback that knows the system.
But see, the problem what comes in there, Wayne, is if they've already said that they're guaranteeing him, they told him physically they're going to pay him his contract, and he loses it, he still holds the cards. He doesn't have to restructure.
They can tell him whatever they want.
I was going to say.
When players sign deals, they think that this deal is for the next 5 or 6 years, and then here come restructures and cuts.
Cats get restructured all the time, man.
Yeah. So
Ford.
Right, I understand that. That the team can do that, but he also has to agree to that. He doesn't have to agree to that. He still holds the cards.
But if he doesn't agree to it, then he ends up getting cut, and that's the thing. So do you want to test free agency? Do you want to find someone to be traded to who's willing to take on that salary? Or do you want to restructure and stay on this roster and be the backup? Those are his three options.
Like the 49ers are kind of like in control of everything.
Go ahead and finish, Wayne. Sorry.
It just seems like they're in control of every situation. And so like, okay, yeah, we can agree to pay you the $25 million for this year. You win the starting job. Boom, you're our starting quarterback. But guess what? We could walk away from you next season because we can cut you and only lose $1 million or whatever, like that. And so like it's a win for the 49ers then, right? Especially if they do well this season. But let's say Jimmy doesn't pan out this year and then they're stuck with that. Maybe they coming back to Jimmy and be like, listen, man, let's talk restructure, man. How can we get you to stay on this team? Blah, 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 blah. Like, as a different role. Guys, like that, at some point, you got to learn to accept your role, man. Like, it happens in life, man. Like, you got to learn when your time is up, it's time for the next person to step up. And the Niners, like, they right, Ray, they have all the leverage, J10. They have all of it. Like, in every scenario, though. At first, I thought the Niners were effed. Like, they were messed up. And then I realized they control every situation. If Jimmy just says no, and Jimmy wants to go out and be and test free agency and take the cut, now Jimmy's got to go out there and he's going to be the next Cam Newton. Now he's got to go and prove himself, sign a cheap deal on the team, and try to prove himself to be a starter again when he had it kind of like made in San Francisco. I got to go get my plug, so I'm gonna jump off and come right back.
So when I did this, I also made a prediction. So my prediction, based on the information that I was able to find, is that no team trades for Jimmy before the beginning of the season. He and Trey will battle for QB1, and whoever loses is just a strong backup for this season. And that's what I think. That's where I think, given that scenario with those teams, that's what happens.
Based off of people trading pre-season, like before the season.
Right. This is like, as soon as we know that Trey is the winner in camp and we're going to look to offload Jimmy, those 4 teams are available. I don't think any of those 4 teams make that call now. They're going to wait because of Jimmy's contract.
So the Broncos right now, let's look at their roster really quick, okay? I just want to let everybody know who their quarterbacks are and see if we think that Jimmy is better.
Locke and Bridgewater.
Yeah. So they have Brett Rypien, Drew Lock, and Teddy Bridgewater as their guys. And I don't know, isn't bringing in Jimmy more of the same? None of those guys are like outstanding at anything. None of them are the most solid players. They're just good, steady Eddie guys, if that makes any sense to you. So
I understand what you're saying.
I'm not sure what the benefit would be to bringing any of those guys in here.
Well, I think Jimmy's a definite upgrade over all 3 of those quarterbacks.
Really?
Yeah.
A definite. You said that like with conviction.
Yes. Well, you got to remember, like, okay, let me preface that with it's a healthy Jimmy, right? A healthy Jimmy is better than all 3 of those quarterbacks.
Okay. All right.
And I know a lot of people like to skew his numbers, but I understand that he hasn't been available, which is your number 1 priority in football, right? Availability.
Yeah.
But if you actually go back and look, I've been seeing them all week long with different statistics coming out. And Matt Mayoko's put out slides that show, third down percentage, and Jimmy's ranked right up there with some of the best quarterbacks in the league. I know a lot of people don't want to see it, but it's there if you go do the research.
All right. Well,
he can't put it all together, and maybe he's not healthy all the time, and so maybe he needs to find a different home. But I think he's definitely an upgrade over those 3.
I'm hoping other teams see it the same exact way that you do. And with that, so I'm going to look at the next team here in their quarterback room. That was the Packers. That was the second team you presented. Yep. Aaron Rodgers, big question mark. Yep. And the question mark. If he shows up, we're wasting our time. But if not, they're left with Jordan Love and Blake Bortles battling it out for the starting position, followed by Jake Dolgala. And Kurt Binkert. They have another guy. They have 5 quarterbacks on their roster right now. I don't know for sure that Jimmy doesn't improve that room as long as you take Aaron Rodgers out of it. So the knowledge of the system and so on and so forth, that goes a long way. that might be a good look for him also, right? All right. And then the third team that you mentioned was the Jets. To want to run down their quarterbacks. Now we know that the Jets picked right before the 49ers in the draft, and he is not listed on their official website right now.
Because he has not signed his contract.
Because he is
so
not.
It's him and a young man by the last name of Morgan.
James Morgan and Mike White. Mike White is also there. And Mike White, what's funny about him is that, well, him and Morgan, okay, so if you look at both of those guys, they both have been in the league for a couple of years, and I've never heard their name said before ever.
Right.
So that just kind of lets you know they're not going to have the pull, the draw. I'll say the draw that Jimmy Garoppolo has. Okay, and then the last team that you mentioned was the Washington football team, and their quarterbacks are currently as follows. And this is going to be a tough one to get in here. Taylor Heineke, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Kyle Allen, and Steve Montez.
Yep.
So I think this is the toughest room for him to get into, if we're being honest with ourselves. Other than Green Bay, if Aaron comes back, I think this is the toughest room for him to get into. Kyle Allen had a lot of promise. There was the Panthers, and you know that he's there because of who the head coach is now. You know, Ron Rivera has a familiarity with him. He brought him in there. Taylor Heineke, they saw some promise from him. 4 years in the NFL. He's all of a sudden become a vet. Steven Montez is a 1 year guy, and then Ryan Fitzpatrick is Father Time himself with 17 years in the league. So they might be looking for someone else other than him that might help Jimmy Garoppolo's case. So, you know.
Well, remember, I also prefaced this entire thing with these are teams that can afford to bring him on, or they have a need for them, but they had to be able to afford him regardless if the need was there or not.
And afford him right now. These are only the four teams. So there's more teams that we need to discuss. And that is the teams that Jimmy could be a fit for halfway through the season. So the Niners have absorbed half of his contract because he, lost to Trey Lance, or he started and they're ready to start Trey Lance, whatever the case is. The trade deadline is approaching, and the Niners are looking to move on from Jimmy. And what's the next part of this? So who else is available for him?
So I'm going to preface this with saying the four teams that were previously on the list, we're not going to talk about again, but they're also included in this list. Okay. So there's three new teams we're going to add for potential destinations come mid-season. Okay. Those are, and this again, the caveat is that these teams are the ones that can afford to bring on his salary midway through the season, having us had already paid half of his salary. So those include Carolina, New Orleans, Pittsburgh. And so I'll start the same way I did the last one. Basically, with Carolina, is the need there? Well, it really is going to depend on how Darnold does in those first half of the season, whether or not he's picking up the system that they're trying to build there, right? But they definitely have the cap space, although it would be tight. So I would foresee they would probably do some sort of a player swap to get that done. And as far as Carolina, I didn't pull up their numbers, but they're going to – players that are going to leave or are going to be free agents next year would be like Riddick or I can't remember his first name, the wide receiver Anderson. Those two would be good trade fodder, if you will, for Carolina. And then
Robbie Anderson.
Right, Robbie. So then I put down New Orleans, even though it's highly unlikely, because both Taysom Hill and Jameson Winston's contracts are fully guaranteed for this season. So they can't get any relief by releasing them. But if I was thinking more along the lines, if there was an injury, these guys, they could still afford it, but there would have to be some sort of a player swap going on in there as well. And then when you look at the New Orleans team and who is going to be a free agent next year, you're talking safety Williams, Patrick Robinson, Marcus Lattimore. Those guys are all going to be free agents next year. So that's somebody they might try to get off their books if they're trying to get Jimmy there for the second half of the year. And then the last team was Pittsburgh, and obviously that's going to be dependent on health, but if you see something happens to Roethlisberger, and they don't feel comfortable rolling with Rudolph again, or maybe they want to move on from Rudolph and they see an opportunity to, if they think, if Tomlinson thinks that Jimmy's going to fit the system better or work well in their system, then that could happen. Then they have, where is it at? Oh, so while I know it's not going to happen, they're going to have 2 huge salaries that are going to come up due next year. Fortunately, they have a lot of cap space next season, so it shouldn't be an issue. But they, defensive end Watt and Minka Fitzpatrick, both are going to be due mega money next year. So they may or may not try to move. I know that they just traded for Minka, but I just wanted to throw that out there as an option. But those are the 3 teams that we can add onto that list come mid-season, depending on how the season's going.
So looking at the comments here, people want to know about Philly, Atlanta, and what was the other team I saw? Philly, Atlanta. Oh, we did the Steelers already. I believe that was the other team.
Dallas.
Good call, Nick. Dallas.
So I'll just go off of right now, just giving you the cap numbers real quick. Atlanta, after they don't have anybody that's left unsigned, so they have 8.6 million before they have their practice squad put together. So that's not enough to take on Jimmy's contract. Nowhere near, because they're going to be down to almost $5 million in cap space. And who is next? Dallas?
Yeah, you can do Dallas next.
3.6 million is what they will have after they finish signing their draft class. And that does not include the practice squad, which is roughly about $3 million. So they don't have the space, or, they would have to do a major shakeup. Anything's possible in the NFL, but I went with realistic possibilities. So they just don't have the money to do it. Who was next?
Atlanta.
I did that one already. That was the first one I did.
Philadelphia.
Oh,
Philly, yeah.
So Philly right now, after they still have to sign Landon Dickerson, and they're going to have 1.5 million left. So they're not even going to have enough money to sign their practice squad without doing something to make their budget come around and be correct. That's why they're not included in this.
Okay. All right. Some of those teams that people named have a starting quarterback anyway.
Right.
I guess that was more about a depth look for Jimmy, and I'm just not sure if he's going somewhere for depth, then that contract's not going with him. And so if that's the case, then,
you might as well just stay home.
Exactly. Might as well stay here and restructure. Exactly. So
I'm not against that. This show is for the haters. This is for the Jimmy haters. So this show is to tell people where they can go, because everybody wants him gone. Well, not everybody. I have a large population who hammer me every show because I love Jimmy. Well, I don't love Jimmy. I say it all the time. I'm about this team winning. I don't care who it is. I'm about the team winning. But people who don't want, that's why I did the research to figure out what are possibilities.
All right. So we got a couple of new teams to look at here, and the Panthers roster is a funny looking one because, well, never mind. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. But the Panthers quarterback, now this is halfway through the season. We're saying this could work. They have 3 right now: PJ Walker, Will Grier, and Sam Darnold. I think Jimmy could walk in there and compete with all those guys right now. What do you guys think about that?
Most definitely. He could walk in there and compete and probably win a starting job there.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, it's funny to hear people say that because I remember people talking about wanting Darnold to come and take over Jimmy's role. So if we previously wanted Darnold to come to San Francisco, then why would Jimmy want to go to some place where he knows he's not going to win if that's the case?
Because competition is a difference. And you're going to want to go somewhere where you think you could win it out. Doesn't mean that you can. It's somewhere you think you're confident in going and winning that position. I know I was one of those people. I thought Sam Darnold is somebody that the Niners should look for. They were in on him. They were looking at him, but he was getting a little bit too much money on the market. So I like the Darnold thing, but I think that's somewhere that he could go and be a veteran presence in that room. That's that. Sam Darnold didn't even finish out his rookie contract, so he's still wet behind the ears. Jimmy's got 7 years in the league, so it's somewhere that could really work. And we haven't seen anything from Will Grier. What the heck is going on with him? He came in with all this hype and he's kind of just fizzled out.
Right.
You know? The other team that you named was the Saints, and their quarterback room is just I'm going to tell you, their quarterback room pisses me off more than any other quarterback room in this entire league.
Because they have their starting quarterback is not a real true quarterback or what?
Yeah, and then there's two other guys who are looked at as decent prospects in the NFL. So you have Jameis Winston, right? Then you have Trevor Siemian, you have Ian Book, and Taysom Hill. I just don't think Jimmy goes there and competes to play, just because there's just too much going on in that room.
Now, let me throw this caveat out there, because I'll talk about it when we get to the next level for after the season. But the only quarterback that is on their roster next season is Book.
Yeah. Well, Taysom Hill has
he's got four voided years on that.
He's got 4 voided years, but he has a 5-year contract.
Right. So next year he's a free agent. They're not voidable by the team. They're actually voided years. They're just put in place for the money they paid him.
Right.
So Nick's comment here is actually a really good one. If he plays and gets hurt again, we're on the hook for this entire contract. So let me ask a question. If he goes out in preseason, takes a snap and breaks his ankle, does that change anything about his guarantees, or is it just we're on the hook?
Nope.
I thought all his guarantees were done, though. I don't think he has injury guarantees left.
No. Injury guarantees are different than
right. He would go on IRR and he'd get paid his normal paycheck minus his game day checks. So he's still gonna. I mean, and I think he's only got. I'll pull it up right now. Hold on. I think it's in here. So Garoppolo's entire year worth of game day checks is only $800,000 off that total.
Dang.
So it's not even $1 million coming off of that amount that we owe him. But that's what we would get that back. But I mean, that's nothing if we're having to pay him to not play.
All right. Well, that's something else that we have to pay attention to, because God forbid this guy gets injured during preseason.
Well, I think that's probably why they went to Jed, because if something does happen, are you willing to pay his entire salary? And, obviously they came to that consensus.
Right. All right. And then the last team that you mentioned here was the Steelers roster.
Yes.
And that one is, I'm not going to say it's more confusing, but I think because of Ben Roethlisberger's age and his steady decline year after year. I mean, this guy has been in the league 18 years, man. That's a long time at a regular job, not considering and counting a football career. So you have Ben Roethlisberger, you have Mason Rudolph, you have Dwayne Haskins, and Joshua Dobbs.
Yep.
I forgot all about Dobbs. I'm not going to lie to you. Can Jimmy go in that room and compete? Can he beat out Mason Rudolph, Haskins, and Dobbs?
I think so.
God, yes. Like, why are we asking ourselves these questions? Is Jimmy Garoppolo? He's not a bad quarterback. He just had bad breaks, and so no pun intended. And I think as Kyle Shanahan, I feel like I can speak for him because he's pretty much showed it. They're ready to move forward. Like they need they needed some type of quarterback that they can count on being available, and so I think they're willing to rock, like Nick said, with Jimmy and his contract. But if the right situation comes along, that's why we're having this show, and they can find a place for Jimmy to go to where the 49ers ain't taking the hit, they will find a place for them to go. And one thing, like John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan want the most back. Like they want a first round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo, knowing damn well they didn't even trade him for a first round pick. So they're going to try to get back what they can. But I just think Jimmy, wherever it is that he lands, even if he is here in San Francisco, he's going to play a lot better if healthy. And so when he goes to these other teams, and you're talking about these quarterbacks that have minimum experience, like Jimmy is probably going to outshine just about each and every one of them. So, yes.
All right. So, I know we're getting to the end of this part of it. So I'm going to give my prediction before we start talking about all this stuff. But so for the mid-season trade, this is what I said. Jimmy has value if there's an injured quarterback somewhere in the NFL, right? The only teams listed previously during this discussion that really have a need and a shot that if they want to get him without having to compete in the offseason for him, like if there's a market for him after this season's over, say he goes and we win the Super Bowl. If somebody wants to gamble to get Jimmy now at midseason versus waiting to the end for whatever reason we decide to get rid of him, trade ready to go, I only put down Washington and Denver as possible landing spots for him. The other ones, when you just sit down and you break down more and more information, it gets too convoluted. Anything can happen, but, Ben could come back for another year. That takes the Pittsburgh Steelers out. Maybe Darnold flourishes with the Carolina system, so that might take them out. When I went back and I looked at everything and I tried to compile all that data, the only two teams that I could see trading midseason for him is Washington and Denver.
So let me ask you about two other teams really quick before we move on.
Okay.
I want to know about the Houston Texans.
Okay.
And I want to know about the Chargers.
So if I can be completely honest with the Texans, I don't even know how they're going to be a football organization next year.
Yeah. No, that's
if Watson's not there, like if he's like, I'm not playing and he's going to hold out until whenever or never play football again. I don't know how they're going to function. But so Houston, as it sits right now, they have no undrafted or no unsigned from their rookie class. So they have $4.9 million on the books right now. And who else did you say? Miami?
The Chargers.
Oh, Chargers. So the Chargers have Herbert and they have Daniel on their team right now. But they're looking
at Chase Daniels with the Chargers.
Huh?
Chase Daniels with the Chargers.
Backup. And they have 14.2 after they finish signing their class. So fiscally they could do it, but I don't see them bringing him in with the current quarterbacks that they have in the room. I do not think that Jimmy will beat out Herbert for a starting job.
He's only one shot away from getting the start over there, bro.
Who's the most expensive?
Is that too soon? Get it? The shot, the chest, Tyrod. All right, never mind. It's cool.
Who's the most expensive backup quarterback in the league? Is it Chase McDaniel?
I don't have those numbers in front of me.
I'm just asking because
according to everybody in this room, it's Jimmy Garoppolo.
That's fair.
He's not a backup yet, so
no. But I'm being facetious, but you know what
Jacoby Brissett, $15 million.
No, let me see what this article here says. Chase Daniel. This is as of November, so maybe you're right. But Colt McCoy came in at number 10.
What's the number?
Taysom Hill's at number 2 at 8.84. Alex Smith is number 1 at $16 million. But he's retired now, right?
Is he still getting paid? Did he have money to be paid out still?
I don't know. Case Keenum had 5.5, but he's not. Is he still with the Browns, Case Keenum?
Yeah. Yep.
Mitch Trubisky. All right, yeah. So this is 2020, so this might not be the.
So it says here Jacoby Brissett is the highest paid backup at $15 million, losing the job to Phillip Rivers when he signed with the Indianapolis Colts.
But
Brissett's not there anymore. Where did he go? He went to
Mariota signed the 2-year, $17.6 million deal, so he's probably the highest one now.
The information I had Brissett back in Miami, or in Miami.
Oh, is that where he is? I think that was the team we were talking about that we forgot to look at. Miami.
Well, Miami's only got 1.2 after they signed their class, so they're going to have to figure out how to even sign their practice squad.
Well, the reason why I'm asking is because if Jimmy had to restructure because he had to result into the backup role, let's say he takes the job for the Niners,
sure,
it's going to be around these numbers, right? Or Nick, would Jed York make Jimmy the highest paid backup quarterback in the NFL to secure? I see Jimmy for me would provide that security, right? So because you know what you're going to get from Jimmy Garoppolo, and God forbid, I said it earlier on the show, if anything was to happen to your guy, well, guess what? It's like having a Ryan Fitzpatrick on the bench. It's like having a Chase McDaniel on the bench. And I think Jimmy Garoppolo is better than Chase McDaniel. You call me crazy. That's just what I think. Do I think he's better than Ryan Fitzpatrick? No. But Chase Daniel, yeah, I actually do. I even think he's better than Jacoby Brissett.
Chase Daniel's in Detroit, though.
I don't know where guys are anymore, bro. I just know he's still in the league at this point.
Yeah, he's in Detroit.
I thought
he's not in San Diego. Jacoby Brissett is still with Indianapolis, or he went to Miami. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I had him. You sure about Daniel?
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up again.
No, he's on the Chargers right now.
Yeah.
Daniel's on the Chargers right now.
Don't go throw
my bad. I was looking at from 2. So it's listed from like the free agents where they went from to, and I read where he went from. So my bad. That's on my bad.
So I would imagine in Wayne's situation that I think it would be fair, probably that he's going to make like a $10 million average annual salary.
Yep. So
as a backup. That's my guess.
I hate that we're looking this stuff up, man. Chase. I'm sorry. Chase Daniel has thrown for not even 1,700 total yards.
It's his
made over $38 million, bro.
It's his experience and who he sat under.
Okay.
We can't knock that because we give Jimmy mad passes because he sat under Tom Brady for 4 seasons. Right. And so you give them that experience and you're hoping when they get called on, they come into the game and then they're at least have that, experience. So that's why I said, like, I think Jimmy and at the end of the day, guys, it comes down to Jimmy Garoppolo. Because if the 49ers paint the picture for him, they could give him 5 scenarios. And the last one, the one scenario he chooses could just be him just getting cut, betting on himself, and then going and trying to find a starting job. I think it will be harder for him to do that, though. And I know teams need quarterbacks, but they might not call him until somebody gets hurt, and then the team's going to have to be contending. Ain't no stink team going to pick up Jimmy. Like, they're just not.
So we've talked about trades that could happen before the season. We've talked about mid-season. And now, unless you guys have any objections or want to touch on anything, we got 50 minutes before the next show, so I want to kind of jam through this last part. But we're going to talk about trades postseason. So say Jimmy balls out, has a great year, Trace sits or comes in at the end, or however it works out. But Jimmy's done well enough to garner the eye and attention of some teams, right, that might be interested in trading. So I went through all of the teams for 2022 season. I went and I looked at how many players they have currently signed to their 22 roster, what their caps hits are currently, or how much cap space they have, and their top 5 unrestricted free agents that are going to be coming open. So I can go through each team if you want, and I can blaze through that and then or we can just go straight to the teams that I think are the best, or
well, why don't you read
possibilities?
Just read down the list of all the teams for postseason.
Okay. So Arizona.
Spectacles ready.
Yeah. Well, I'm old, man. Sorry. So Arizona obviously has their starter in Murray, but they will need a backup quarterback. They have 46 players under contract with $12.5 million. They're going to have Chandler Jones open, AJ Green's coming open, Malcolm Butler, and I can't remember how to pronounce his first name. Denard, the other cornerback. Those are their big unrestricted free agents. I put them down as not a fit because I don't think he fits that system. And then Atlanta, they have their starter as it sits right now. Ryan's contract is not, it's not possible to move on from Ryan's contract right now. It's just not, or come next season. but they will need a backup if you know. But they have 47 players under contract and negative $365,000 in their cap space as it sits right now. D. Fowler, tight end Hurst, wide receiver Sharp, and their kicker Koo. Yeah. And I put them down as cap strap. There's no way they can make a move for Jimmy. Baltimore, they have their starter and backup in Jackson and McSorley, but they could always upgrade over McSorley.
And it's a bad system for Jimmy, so we won't even go there. That's not a Greg Roman type of quarterback.
All right. Well, I put it down as a possible when I went through all the statistics. But
financially and all, yeah, but
right, because they'll have 31.08 cap space,
right.
But they've got some players they have to sign too. Then Buffalo, they have their starter in Allen, obviously. They have a backup in Webb, but they could upgrade, unfortunately. They have 55 players under contract and basically just over $1 million in cap space. So they're cap strapped. It's not a situation that Jimmy's going to want to go to anyway. Carolina has their starter and backup, if you want to consider that, in Darnold and Greer. They have 47 players under contract with $48 million in cap space. Their right tackle, Moton, wide receiver, Anderson, center, Paradis, Riddick, which I talked about earlier, and Dayton Jones. So I listed that as a possible for the offseason. Chicago, the rookie starter with Fields going into his second year, but they will need a backup. I just don't think that's a fit for him, but they have $36.1 million with 44 players under contract, but they've got some holes that they're going to have to fill after they're unrestricted free agents, so they may not have the money for Jim either. Cincinnati, I don't see as a fit with Burrow there. They have 46 players under contract. They do have $50 million in cap space, but they have to replace most of their O-line is going to be unrestricted free agents next year. So Rife, Price, and Spain are all going to be free agents. Then Eli Apple, Allen, free safety, and then Mike Daniels, defensive tackle. But I put him down as not a fit because I don't see any reason for him to go there. Cleveland is also not a fit. They have both their starter and backup in place with Mayfield and Keenum. 56 players under contract, $9.8 million in cap space. Dallas has Prescott as a starter. They may need a backup because Cooper Rush is going to be a free agent, and that's their backup right now. 61 players under contract, and they're negative $24 million next offseason. So they're going to have to figure out how to get back under the books. So they're going to be doing all kinds of cap stuff.
That's some Saints type shit.
Their free agents are safety Neal, Vander Esch, linebacker, punter Brian Anger, and wide receiver Gallup. Those were their big ones. Excuse me. Denver is next. They have their supposed starter in Locke, but they will need a backup or someone to replace Locke. They have 53 players under contract with $48.6 million. Now, that being said, Von Miller is going to be a free agent. Kyle Fuller is going to be a free agent. Brian Callahan, Cortland Sutton, and Josie Jewell will all be free agents next year. So they're going to have to be spending a lot of that money probably keeping those guys in-house. But I put it down as a possibility. Detroit, I said that they had their starter in Goff. They traded for him, whether it was a favor from the new GM or not, who knows. And they have a backup quarterback, but I mean, it's obviously they could upgrade there. 53 players under contract with $48.6 million cap space. Or excuse me, sorry, I read Denver's line again. 43 players under contract with $23.6 million in cap space. And they don't have a whole lot of free agents. The big ones that I saw were Fells, tight end, Perryman, wide receiver, cornerback, Dunbar, and tackle Crosby. And that's basically it for them. So I put them down as not a fit just because I think Goff's there for now. Green Bay obviously depends on Rodgers' situation. So I can get into that if you want. But basically, they're in the whole $34.5 million as well. So they're going to have to restructure some things too. Houston, it depends on Watson's situation, obviously. But I put them down as cap strap because next year they only have $2.1 million in cap space, and they're still going to iron out what they're going to do with their players. But they have Justin. Is it Justin Reed, right? Safety.
Yeah.
Chris Conley, Desmond King, Merciless, and defensive tackle Collins. Can't remember his first name. And then Indiana has Wentz and Easton, 37 players under contract, and they have what should be the most at $83 million in cap space next year. They're going to have to replace their left tackle probably.
Every 3 years, Indy's has the most cap space. I don't understand how the hell they do that. Every 3 years, they're like blowing teams out the water. It's crazy.
Right. And all these numbers are based off of the projected cap for next year. So it's not like I didn't take that into consideration also. And so they have $83 million, but they're going to lose or go to free agency with Eric Fisher, T.Y. Hilton, Glowinski, Xavier Rhodes, linebacker Leonard, and tackle B. Smith. I don't remember what his first name was, but I put him down as not a fit because they brought in Wentz. So, I mean, that's their guy. That's who they're putting their future in right now, I think. Jacksonville, obviously not a fit with Lawrence there, but they do have 55 players under contract and 33.7. They have Minshew in there as a backup, so I don't think that that's a fit. KC, obviously, Mahomes is a starter.
At this point, we're all looking at backups just to keep this in mind, because at this point, Jimmy went through the whole season here, and this is after the year is over. So
right, but I'm assuming he did very well this year.
Right. Yeah.
Otherwise, nobody's going to want him, and we're just going to release him, and it'll be easier that way. But so KC's got Mahomes and Buchel. Yeah. Anyway, so that's definitely a spot he could go, but I just don't see that as a fit for him. They only have 38 players under contract with only $19.1 million. And they've got some big names that are going to hit free agency. So the Chiefs are going to be kind of hurting depending on how they restructure some of these players or how they sign their contracts. And then the Chargers got Herbert and Stick, who I didn't know anything about. But they have 56 players under contract with $51 million.
So does that mean this is Daniel's last year?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, and there, Mike Williams is going to be up. Jared Cook's going to be up. The kicker, Bagley, is going to be up. Daniel's going to be up. And center Quisenberry is going to be up. Quessenberry. So I didn't put him as a fit because I don't think he wants to go there and be under Herbert. And then Rams, same situation, Stafford, but they're actually negative $3.5 million in cap space for next year. And they've got cornerback Williams, center Corbett, kicker Gay, and defensive end Lawler that are all going to be unrestricted free agents. So that doesn't seem like a fit. Plus, they're going to be cap strapped until they figure out what they're doing there. The Raiders, I know a lot of people are talking about the Raiders. So they have Carr, obviously, as their starter, and Peterman will be the backup because Mariota's contract will be over. They have 39 players under contract with $51.1 million in cap space. So, as I said, they have Mariota, defensive tackle Jefferson, cornerback Hayward, tight end Carrier, and defensive tackle Snacks. Right? Is that Hankins, right? And so I put it down as not a fit. I don't think that Gruden would go for him anyway. Now here's where I had fun. So Miami, I know that they have Tua and they have Sinet, I think is his name. They have 56 players under contract with another $55 million. This seems like it would probably be a decent fit for Jimmy financially. Like they could fit him. So I put it as a possible. Their unrestricted free agents next year are Will Fuller, Agba, Brissett, running back Brown, Gesicki, and Vince Beagle. Beagle. So I put that one down as a possible. Now, Minnesota has Cousins. They're going to be cap strapped. New England has Jones and Stidham. So even though Cam is going to be up on his contract, they have a viable backup there already. And
at least that's what they want you to believe. You got to remember that there was a lot of talk about Jimmy going back this offseason. So
from our end, I don't know that it's from the other side, though. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Very true.
And so New England has 44 players under contract, and they have $26.2 million, but they have Gilmore, McCourty, Trent Brown, Dante Hightower, and potentially Cam Newton that are all going to need to be re-signed. So that's probably not a good situation. I put them down as cap strapped after that. New Orleans is negative $37.6 million in the hole. So the only quarterback that they have on the roster is Book. They're going to have fun trying to figure out what they're going to do. They're in the similar boat as Houston, basically.
Sean Payton's retiring and throwing up the deuces.
I'm out. See you.
Figure this shit out for yourself.
So we're getting down to the end here. Sorry, this is a little long-winded, but so the Giants, obviously they got Jones. They will need a backup. They got 47 players under contract, but only $2.5 million in cap space. And they've got Ingram, who's going to be a free agent, with Peppers and Will Hernandez and Ragland. So I put them down as cap strap because they're already going to have to figure
Hernandez
out.
is going to be a free agent already. I thought they have a 5th-year option for him. Oh, maybe they haven't exercised it yet. Hernandez. Will Hernandez is the offensive lineman, right?
When I looked him up, he was going to be a free agent next year.
Okay.
But that, like you said, it could be. There might be a 5th-year option that they didn't exercise. I'm not sure.
I got you. Okay.
So then we're on to the Jets, who we talked about earlier. Basically, they got their rookie starter with Wilson. Morgan is still there. They have 50 players under contract and $72.4 million in cap space. But they're going to have Crowder, Morgan Moses, Joyner at safety, Lewis at guard, and May at safety, who are all going to be free agents. So if they want to try to keep that together, they're going to spend half of that money just doing that. It's still an option for Garoppolo, like he would fit there. And financially, they could do it. It's just it's going to take some work on the Jets' end, I think. And then Philadelphia, I talked about a little bit earlier. So Hurts is obviously there. They will need a backup quarterback. They have 52 players under contract with $12.8 million. So I listed it as a cap strap team because they have to bring back or look to replace their center with Kelsey. Graham at defensive end, Ertz at tight end if they don't trade him away, Harris at safety, Barnett at defensive end, and Goddard at tight end. So they got a lot of players to bring back and try to figure that out. Pittsburgh, the only quarterback will be Rudolph on the roster. I know that if you look at it, it looks like Ben's there, but Ben's actually got voidable years. That's basically dead money for the team. And they have 45 players under contract with $75.2 million, but they're got to bring back Schuster Smith, cornerback Joe Hayden, safety Edmonds, TJ Watt, and Trey, I think Turner, I think is his name. He's a guard. So then Seattle, obviously Wilson's there, their backup situation, and that's perpetual need for them. Hopefully they never see Russell go down or they're going to be screwed. 50 players under contract with $45.2 million. Left tackle Brown, free agent. Diggs is a free agent. Tight end Everett's a free agent. Jamal Adams is a free agent. Bichelle off the tackle, and Witherspoon will all be free agents next year. But I put them down as not a fit because I don't think he's going to Seattle.
What Diggs is listed there?
It's Q Diggs.
Oh, Quandre Diggs. Okay.
Quandre, there you go. And then San Francisco, obviously I put Lance as a starter, Rosen backing him up probably. 34 players under contract with $23.7 million in cap before you take into consideration Jimmy's whatever.
That includes Jimmy's contract.
No, that does not. So if Jimmy leaves, that's going to bump it up to more like, so what's that, 20?
Yeah. No,
so you're looking at almost
we're on different pages. I'm sorry. I was saying that the $30 million includes having Jimmy already on the roster is what I was saying.
Oh, yeah. Right now, if we were paying Jimmy's salary, the $23.7 million is our cap space for next offseason. And then we've got, obviously, Fred Warner, Tomlinson, Verrett, DJ Jones, Shark, Mostert, all going to be free agents. So, I mean, those are guys that we got to figure it out or figure out somebody to replace them if we're not figuring out their contracts.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay. So, obviously, as it sits right now, Brady's the starter. Trask will be the backup. They have 56 players under contract with 19.2 in cap space. But unrestricted free agents, you got Godwin, Pierre-Paul, Sue, O.J. Howard, Antonio Brown, and I don't know what his first name is. Maybe Ryan. The center, Jensen. They're all going to be free agents. So, I mean, 19.2 million is not a lot. So I put them down as a cap strap team and not a likely place for him to go. 2 left, guys. 2 left. And gals. Tennessee. So as it sits right now, Tannehill's the starter and Kaiser is the backup. 55 players under contract with only 9.3 million in cap space. You know, the center, Jones, inside linebacker, Brown, linebacker Landry, and tight end Swaim are all going to be free agents. So that 9.3 is going to have to go a long ways, or they're going to have to figure something else out. So I put them down as cap strap. And then finally with Washington, the only QB that will be on the roster is Heineke. 41 players under contract with 60.5 million. But they have a lot of free agents. So Sheriff's a free agent.
Yeah, well, that 41 tells you what you need to know. 41 people under contract. That tells you.
Jonathan Allen, Logan Thomas, John Bostic, McCain, quarterback, and obviously Fitzpatrick. But so I put him down as a possibility. So that's kind of where each of the teams stand at the end of the season.
Well, based off of this entire exercise and listening to, preseason halfway point and at the end, it's not just recency bias. Sounds like Washington football team might be the best bet for Jimmy Garoppolo going forward.
So I will give you my prediction, then we can talk about whatever.
All right.
So I want to put out a little bit more information here. So 2022, because this is something else you got to take into consideration, right? 2022 free agent quarterbacks: Roethlisberger, Bridgewater, Dalton, Newton, Winston, Mariota, and Kyle Allen. And then rookie quarterback prospects: Rattler out of Oklahoma, Howell out of North Carolina, Ritter or Ryder, I don't know how he pronounces that, out of Cincinnati, Slovis out of USC, and Strong out of Nevada were the top ones that were listed on several sites. And my predictions for the best fits for him, number 1 for me was Denver. Number 2 for me was Washington, and number 3 was Miami. All the other teams that were mentioned above that I talked about will probably could. Oh, I didn't talk about the ones that I did in the long discussion, but I broke it down again further. Anyway, there was 1, 2. So Baltimore, Carolina, Denver, Green Bay, Houston, Miami, the Jets, Pittsburgh, and Washington are all teams that I could see as being viable candidates or landing spots for him. With Denver, Washington, and Miami being my thought process of where he would best fit. But those other teams would probably have interest once the 49ers release him if they can't trade him.
And the Jets have how many people under contract following the end of the year? I know, obviously, Zach. Who was the other backup there?
The Jets are 50. They have 50. 50 players under contract.
Okay.
And they have 72.4 million.
So he could still potentially fit there if, let's say, Zach Wilson struggles this year.
Yep.
Like, hey, maybe we should bring Jimmy in to kind of bolster that joint. So the Jets is the team that we should add into our top 5. It fits for Jimmy following the season. Wayne, man, what are your thoughts, man? Brian gave us a lot of information here tonight, a lot of stuff to think about. How do you take it here?
Honestly, like, it's cool that we kind of like broke down teams that where Jimmy can kind of go, if need be. But honestly, I don't really see it in that light. I think Jimmy is going to be the starting quarterback until he's not. And so, like, I'm ready for Jimmy to really start the process of being the quarterback for the 49ers in 2021 and preparing his mindset to take this team to the Super Bowl. Like, I think that's kind of where I am on the Jimmy stuff. Being that he is here, he is being paid to be the quarterback, and the only way he won't be is if he can't. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he can't, meaning that he either gets injured or he just gets beat out, right? And so then that's kind of where all of Brian's works comes into play. So I think, Brian, you did an amazing bang-up job on breaking this down and getting him to teams that fit financially and a good fit. And after listening to this, the last team that you mentioned about being with the Jets, Robert Saleh, that might be a Jimmy guy. You might want to bring Jimmy in as insurance. Who's the backup quarterback for the Jets? I'm sorry. Exactly. So
Morgan?
that's my point. That
Yeah,
you gotta
Morgan.
look him. You gotta look him up, and you don't know who it is. This might be it. Zach Wilson. It's funny because no one is talking about Zach Wilson getting ready to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, but he's probably going to be the starter for the Jets, right? But
Yep.
Trey Lance can't do it. But it's just amazing to me. But anyway, I do like that fit. I think the most. I like the connections that it draw, and I'm still high on the Green Bay one. I know Aaron Rodgers is there, but Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
So
well, that's what he said. as long as the general manager is still there, he doesn't want to be there.
Quote unquote, right? And so those are I think out of all the teams we mentioned, I like the Jets. I like the Green Bay Packers because Jimmy is competitive and he wants to win. And he has it in him. It's just that maybe his body just sometimes it's just for the 49ers, the system might not just fit his body type anymore. I don't know. Maybe if he goes to a different team, he'll have better success and a change of scenery.
All right. So Breezy's going to go with the Jets.
Yes.
Right? That's a really, really good pick. I think I'm going to stick with Washington. And Brian, you're going to stick with Denver as a potential landing
We all
spot.
got 3 different teams. I like it.
Well, that's why I picked those 3, but it was hard because I like his fit in Miami too. But yes, I think that Denver's the number 1 spot for me. And for Jimmy, I think that's where he will best flourish, if you will.
The balls travel just a little bit further in that high air, huh?
Well, it's not just that. I just look at everything else that's going, with Washington, obviously there's going to be vacancies after Fitzpatrick leaves unless they do something else. In Denver, I'm not sold on Locke. I'm just not. To me, Locke and then Jones out of the Giants, and I know I'll probably get slapped in the face for this, but Allen with Buffalo, right? Those 3 guys kind of seem like the same thing coming out of college, but you can see how much different Buffalo with Allen, how he developed, and how Jones worked his way in the system, and I just don't see that in Denver with Locke.
Yeah, and Daniel Jones, Brian, is just fine.
Yeah.
With the Giants, and he almost beat us too.
Initially they all 3 seem like kind of mediocre quarterbacks, but they all developed differently. Obviously, Josh Allen took it to a different level in from what we saw in college, where he's at in Buffalo.
Yeah, they went out and got him a Stephon Diggs, right? And so that changed his whole game plan. Stephon Diggs, but didn't he lead the wide receivers in receptions last year? I'm telling you, And so I think Daniel Jones will be just fine. The Giants just need to continue to build him the offensive line because they got him weapons. And so that's why I don't see him with the Giants. I know some people keep saying Giants, not Jets. The reason why I say the Jets is because the Jets don't have a veteran there. They don't have that presence. And
because
why
we're
not?
looking at backups, not starters necessarily going into next season. Somewhere that Jimmy can be that veteran in the room.
Exactly. And why not?
I think he could be a starter in Denver. He could probably be a starter in Miami too.
I actually think that Denver likes Drew Lock. I don't think that I think that they like him, and they brought in Bridgewater to change up the quarterback. Same kind of sort of how the New Orleans Saints did with Breeze and Lock. I think Bridgewater could be a perfect, nice little veteran presence for a Drew Lock, kind of teach him some things on how to do certain things. But I think that they're high on Drew Lock, guys. I really do. Unless Aaron Rodgers becomes available.
Sure. Everybody's going to throw all the plans out the front door as soon as that happens.
Right. You get what I'm saying? So unless he becomes available, I think they rock with Lock. Why take on $25 million contract when you're paying Lock $0 million?
Because I don't think Lock gets them to the playoffs even.
But I think that they still, if they've built the team, they've got weapons, they got a running game, they still got a defense. You know what I'm saying? They kind of look like the 49ers.
Right, but I feel like, I mean, I know they have some younger pieces. I feel like their defense is older than like with, I don't know, maybe it's just because Von Miller was so awesome so early in his career. It just feels like their defense feels old to me.
I mean,
that's without me going and looking at the numbers and figuring out their ages and all that kind of stuff. It just feels like they're an older team. Like they're at the end of their potential anything window. They're going to have to start rebuilding at some point in time, and I just don't think that Locke's the guy they should do that around.
That's fair. That's fair. But I don't think it's Jimmy either, but that's fair. Because they already have a veteran in the room. So you mean to tell me Jimmy's better than Teddy Bridgewater?
I think so, yes.
Yes.
You really do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
As much as Jimmy seems to be affected by his ankle.
Jimmy had a 2019 season that just looked phenomenal, but Bridgewater was solid until his injury, yo.
Right, and that's what I was getting ready to say is as much as Jimmy's injury has seemed to have impacted his ability to run the ball or make throws, that we think he should be making.
All right.
I think it's even worse for Bridgewater.
I don't.
Did you guys know that Bridgewater has never thrown more than 15 touchdowns in a single season?
It's systems, bro.
Oh, okay. I mean, all right. Yeah. All right.
That's part of it. He played in Minnesota, then got beat out by Kirk, whoever it was, and then he went to New Orleans, right? And now he's here. Like I just
right. He is going to be your perpetual backup everywhere he goes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to those injuries, but I think he was going to be that dude.
Well, I think, pre-injury, he was going to be that dude. I think he'd still be in Minnesota tearing it up if he didn't get injured. But I think that his recovery, I think Jimmy recovered, obviously two different injuries, right?
Oh, yeah, two different injuries.
Severity was just different, right? But I think that the recovery that you see from Jimmy, Jimmy is better than Bridgewater because I don't feel like Bridgewater's taken that step to get healthy again. Realize that Jimmy went to the Super Bowl post-injury.
Wasn't Bridgewater like stellar in Carolina though? Didn't he play well?
No, I don't. No,
I don't think he played.
I'd have to go look at the stats.
15 touchdowns was his career high in Carolina, guys.
Again, style of football though. I mean, they got
all they did was throw the ball to Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, but that you're throwing the ball to him behind the line of scrimmage and asking him to do silly things. Like they didn't have who was Carolina's wide receivers? What's the Calvin Benjamin? Devin Funchess? Come on, guys. Come on, man. It's not like they had Greg Olsen was injured the majority of the time.
Where else has he had the opportunity to play?
He hasn't.
A lot of reps.
He will now in Denver.
So you think that he's going to beat Locke out for the starting job?
I absolutely do.
Interesting. That's a good hot take.
He just got injured.
Right. I don't see him as when we do see him on the field, I don't see him anywhere near as good as he was. You see hesitancy in Jimmy still, but not to me, you don't even see him hesitancy in Bridgewater. He just doesn't produce.
Okay.
But that's just my take.
I have to go back and watch Bridgewater play. I just feel like
he was 15-11 touchdown interceptions with the Panthers.
Okay.
Before that with the Saints, he was 9-2. 9 touchdowns.
That's not bad. I mean, he had more touchdowns than interceptions, but it's bad. I mean, it's not.
Then the Saints in 2018 won. That was only a couple of plays in one game. Vikings, he didn't throw any touchdowns, but he has an intercept. That's weird. He's credited in 2017 for one interception. It was one throw, it looks like, because there's no yards or anything. It's zeros all the way, 0% completion percentage with one interception. Anyway, that was the Vikings in 2017. Vikings in 2015, 14 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. And the Vikings in 2014, 14 touchdowns, 12 interceptions.
So I put that up there because that was my prediction when I made as soon as the schedule came out. That's my prediction right there.
Good
to go, Charlie Lee.
I like it. I like it. I'm sorry. Bridgewater was quarterback last season for the Panthers. All right, so yeah, he had some receivers. He did.
15 and 11, 92.
Yeah, Sean, you're right. He had Anderson, Curtis Samuel, and Moore. You're right. Yep. My bad. I was just thinking prior. I forgot he was with the Saints, and he's been on. This is his fourth team. Like he's been on a few teams. Like
Right.
so, it's hard to keep up. And Christian McCaffrey was hurt last year. So when you take away the run game, it's different. So guys, let's not act silly like we don't understand football.
Sure.
Because when you can't run the ball and you put the thing on your quarterback to throw, it's going to be hard. They stack the box and they force the quarterbacks to play differently. Ask Jimmy Garoppolo, he struggles with it. Like that's the thing. Which is if I'm a defense in 2021, I'm stacking the box game one. I'm putting 9 people in the box. Hey, Jimmy. Like I'm taking away the run game. So I can't wait to see how we counter that. Because Jimmy's going to have to come out quick throws, quick alerts, do what he got to do, get that ball out quick to make that defense play honest because they know Jimmy Garoppolo. That's my only fear about Jimmy Garoppolo, that and him getting injured again. This is the only reason why I was big on moving on from Jimmy Garoppolo because I feel like defenses figured him out. Oh, the context that led us to talking about Teddy Bridgewater was the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo might be a good fit in Denver. And so I feel like they have Drew Lock and they already have a veteran. So why bring in a $25 million veteran? And so like why bring in Jimmy when you have a Teddy Bridgewater? That was how we got to Bridgewater.
All right. Well, we made our claims here. Now we talked about the teams and which best fit him. And I think we did a good job here breaking this down, guys. And what this exercise shows you is it's not that easy to move.
Mike, does Charlie Lee mean last year about the 49ers when the team started stacking the box? Because they actually started stacking the box in 2019. And they actually started taking away the run game and forcing Jimmy to beat them. And that's how we lost the Super Bowl. I'm just curious if he means.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But we got a show to do in 14 minutes. So.
See, and I just explained why New England's not a fit, but okay.
Yeah. So we will see what happens, guys. I want to thank you all for riding this thing out, man. 2-hour show here. Wonderful breakdown. Guys, it's not that easy to move Jimmy. It's not that easy. That salary restricts how many teams can get him, especially if you have someone else in there that you hope can be the starter. It's going to make you even more gun shy. The Niners have to have a couple of things go their way if they plan on moving Jimmy Garoppolo this season. And when it all comes down to it, it looks like he's going to be here this year, at least for the first 6 weeks. So strap in, guys. Let's see how the competition goes. I actually have a question to ask on the next show. I'm going to ask a question. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We will see you guys in about 10 to 15 minutes on the Midnight Madness show. Hope you guys can chime in there. We'll see you guys soon. Let's get out of here. Prepare for glory.
Anticipate pain.
But always remain faithful.
We're out of here, guys. Peace.
Mahalo.